Hello, and welcome to our Focused and Fulfilled podcast with the Busy Boss Mamas. I'm Crystal, and this is Stephanie.
I'm Stephanie. We are a sister team setting out to help other busy moms to be more intentional and up level in their life so that they don't feel like a basket case all the time. And
Yes.
I think this is our third episode. Is that right?
Yep, it's our episode.
Our third episode of Focused and Fulfilled. And basically, we like to keep this cash because we don't have no time to be like making some fancy schmats, but we like to share with you the tidbits that we found from both being moms of 6, trying to not just let life happen every day, because that is something that's so easy for us to do, is let life happen. So today, so listen to my week so far. Both of us are huge on like morning. What's your morning routine like? Because I feel like your morning makes your day. And this week, actually the last couple weeks, I really like missed the boat when it comes to the morning gig. Like, it's summer and
Everybody's up late.
Yeah, everybody's up late, and I feel like it's just kind of summer days, you know?
Yeah. It's hard to go to bed at like 8:30 or 9 when the sun's still shining high up in the sky in your window.
It's true. And when I say it's bedtime and the kids it's sunny out, they're like, excuse me. And even my little one, who just turned 4, you know, so when she's 3, she's like, it's still daytime out. It's daytime. It's not bedtime.
Yeah. My 3-year-old is like, but the sun's up. But the sun's still up, Mama. It's still daytime because the sun's still up.
Yeah. So it's almost impossible. So we go to bed pretty late. I am not the greatest about getting my kids to bed early. So we go to bed pretty late. So I've been sleeping in, and I hate it. Like, I hate getting out of bed in the morning, but I hate waking up late because it really screws my day over. So I guess, to look at the bright side of it, it's really made me this week be like, what do I need to do? What are the important things to do in the morning? And this morning, I didn't wake up as early as I'd like, but I still got up a little early, earlier than the kids I think I got up, I don't know, like 45 minutes or an hour before the kids. And I feel like I nailed it this morning. And so I was like, okay, I think that this is like a message, that this is what this podcast is going to be about today, is let's talk about the morning routine and what you're doing in the morning and how you're starting your day, because it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, the evening routine, I feel like, is important too. And if you can really set your intentions for the next day, that's really helpful. But the morning, man, if you can't get the morning right, don't you just feel like it just throws everything off?
Yeah. If I get out of bed in the morning with the kids, feel like I'm a basket case all day. A basket case in the sense that I'm like, I just can't get on top of anything. Stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. And then the phone rings. Yeah. And then everything's already going. When you wake up with the kids, that's like you're jumping out of bed and hopping onto an already moving treadmill. Like, yes. You're already jumping out. You didn't step onto a treadmill. You just got out of bed and you're like, I gotta get up here. Like, you didn't even get a chance to warm up.
You didn't even get a chance to warm up, and you're like, wait, what?
It's like, all day long.
It's a shock. It's shocking. It's awful. It's the worst thing. It really, excuse the language, but it's like, if you want to start your day in a shit show, wake up with your kids, or not forget, but don't take seriously waking up to your alarm and wake up already late for work or whatever. I mean,
or if you're a nighttime person, because my husband is a complete nighttime person, he regenerates at nighttime, that's his time, then you got to put the kids to bed. You got to do the routine and get the kids to bed and do the regeneration thing, or you're going to wake up the same way. And you're going to hate mornings even more if you're already not a morning person. If he doesn't get his time at night, he will make his time at night and then get up If he has to get up with people, he's not getting anything done. And 2 o'clock in the afternoon comes around and he's like, I'm barely getting my day started.
Exactly. Like who wants to get their
Terrible
day
day.
started at
And like,
yeah.
if you want dinner on time, you're starting cooking at 3. So you can eat by 5:30.
It's like
So
that happens at my house that like 5:30 dinner. Wait, what?
yeah, but that's only if you start dinner at 3. And I don't know what it is. I mean, you could be making rice-a-roni and or spaghetti, because I think spaghetti is super easy to make, and it can still take 2 hours.
Mhm.
I don't know how it's possible, but that's how it is. And if you
I
have a
know.
baby, what about if you have a baby? Because you have to wake up with a baby sometime. Like when you've got a baby, there's it's hard to avoid.
Sometimes, yeah, but I feel like if you I mean, part of motherhood and part of figuring this all out is just being adaptive enough to realize like, okay, in this stage that we're in right now, this is when my baby wakes up. And if I can even just squeeze in waking up a few minutes earlier or trying to I mean, you got to get creative, right? Like when my babies would wake up early, as much as I hated it, I would try to get them back to sleep. Sometimes I'd fall back asleep with them, which I hated, but you just got to do what you can do. And at least if you can nail down getting that morning started well a few times a week, it's better than nothing. But to not just give up on it. And I think what I've been thinking about a lot this week is it's not even like, regardless of how your day goes, the and what might pop up in your life, I feel like the way that you start your morning, in the way that you start your morning with your mindset and everything,
Mhm.
really is going to make all the difference in the world. So if things pop up in the day that are unexpected, but you've got your mind right starting in the morning, you've filled your cup, you've like, there's something about that emotional recharge in the morning and being ready for it and being ready for that tornado that's going to hit. Um, it makes it so those things that pop up aren't so bad. And on the other side of that, if you don't have things nailed in the morning and you haven't gotten that like composure in the morning and that intention, you haven't set that intention for your day, even if the day goes well and nothing comes up, you're feeling like you're flitting around. So yesterday for me was okay, but like what's today? Thursday. So Monday and Tuesday though, I slept in and I felt like nothing bad happened in the day, but I did end the day being like, it was like I went all day feeling unfocused.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I hate that.
That's how
Like,
yesterday was for me. See, I was good Monday and Tuesday. I got stuff done Monday and Tuesday because I woke up and did some planning. Like I had the
mhm.
week planned Monday morning. I was like sitting there writing it out and had all like the things I wanted to do that day. And then yesterday came and I did exactly that thing. And I was like, I did stuff.
Mhm.
I pulled lights down and cleaned them. I washed the blinds. Like I did a bunch of laundry. We got the front room all cleaned up. But for the reason I didn't have a like prioritized day of what really actually needed to get done. And I'm like, oh, I missed out on some of the stuff I really wanted to do or get done more so than that
Oh,
stuff.
so I love that. So let's talk about that. So that easily could have felt like a huge success, but that was a story that you created though,
Yeah.
that you didn't get a ton done. When the reality is you did get a ton done,
Yeah.
right? You did, and you should have ended that day feeling like a badass, really. Because how I know that you've been caulking this week, you like put on your baseboards, like you've had a hella week, girl. Like you have. I mean, and when you look back at that, someone from the outside could look at that and be like, dang, like you got a lot of stuff done this week. You should feel super proud of yourself. But you don't feel super proud of yourself because it wasn't about the intention of it.
Mhm. Yep. And that's a
So,
part of focus. Like one of the things you were talking
yeah,
about in your morning routine is your intentional.
your intention. So
Mhm.
if your intention was, I'm going to get these things done in the house, I got the front room clean, all those things you just said, and that's what you had woke up yesterday going, okay, these are what I'm going to focus on today. This is my goal. Then you would have ended yesterday feeling like, yeah, like I'm amazing. And
Yeah. I did the
instead, like
stuff
you
I
did
was
get those
like,
things done. Yeah. So it really like like I said, for me, Monday and Tuesday weren't bad, but like I hadn't prepared myself to be like, oh, well, what am I actually going to do today? And I knew
Mm.
over the week, like what I wanted to do. Like, I need to plan school. That's kind of the thing of the moment is school's going to be starting and we both homeschool. So I got to get it together, you know? Um, but I didn't set a specific intention. So this morning, and I've done this lots of times before, but this morning I was like, all right, these, I need to figure out like the things that I must do in the morning that make all the difference in the world. And I know, Crystal, you happen to do this similarly kind of this week too. So I wanted to share those things. I have kind of like, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of like my 5-step formula to like a kick butt morning routine for me. Um, that really I know will set me up no matter what. Like, and so for me, it's like, okay, I know for sure. Are you good?
I'm good. I just can hear something and I hope it can't come through on the sound.
No.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Because I'm like,
This is where you're like, wait a second.
I can hear something like coming from my downstairs, and I can't decide if it's like the vacuum that I know the vacuum head is clogged on and like the kids actually took the initiative to fix it, or if they're breaking something they're not supposed to be using.
I know. We get on here and we're like praying that either the kids don't start fighting in the background, someone doesn't bust through the door, or the house doesn't start on fire while
I
we're trying to get
know.
on here for 25 minutes and do these podcasts.
Yes, you hear somebody coming in, they're like, "I'm poopy, can you wipe my butt?" Like, so surprised. Somebody looked at me sideways. Now I'm
I
dying.
know. I know. Seriously. But anyway, okay, so one thing that I know I always do that I need to do when I wake up in the morning is I need to have time to do my prayer, like have time in prayer and read some Bible readings every morning. Like I have that down. I know I do that. But what I've been like hit or miss on that I realize I just need to do this every day. And I need to make sure that I do what I need to do to make them be habits in my brain, which we're going to talk more about. Like, so I know what I need to do to make these habits stick for this morning. And it's really not that big of a deal. Like, so I need to do the prayer thing, the Bible reading thing, spend a couple minutes journaling, even if it's just a couple minutes to write, because that's how I recharge is writing. We all have our different things. Visualize my day and my goals for what I'm working towards so that I make sure that I'm continuing to work a little bit every day towards my goals rather than just like haphazardly hoping because that never happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Now that's something
And
for everybody. Visualization isn't like a works better for certain people who like to journal or not. Like everybody should
no.
visualize kind of like what your day is going to look like. And especially if you have sticking points throughout your day, like some kid randomly is going to come in and tell you they need to be driven somewhere, or there's going to be like a massive fit thrown right before you leave. You need to visualize those scenarios and how you're feeling in those scenarios. And then
Mm-hmm.
while during those feelings, what are you going to do to remedy those situations? And everybody knows what their sticking points are, like what those things
Mm-hmm.
they hate the most about their day. So the
Yeah.
visualizations for
It's
everybody, and it helps you stay focused and clear during those times.
right because we kind of know what things tend to pop up. Like I know that I'm going to have a couple of my kids that are going to be at each other's throats every day because that's just this current stage they're in, and
Teenage
you
girl
know,
drama,
whatever.
3-year-old
Yeah.
toddler tantrum. I had a nasty 3-year-old. My 7-year-old was the worst tantrum thrower ever. Ever. I thought my 11-year-old was, or 12-year-old was bad when she was 3. And my youngest daughter definitely put her to shame. So if you have one of those, visualize what you're going to do and how you feel in those moments. Because if you've got one of those, you know how that feels. And now I've got like
Mm-hmm.
teenagers. And I'll tell you, I didn't think the girl thing was going to be quite as emotional as it is. It's getting to be very emotional in my household. So that has to be prepared for.
Yeah. Because it's sometimes the emotions of it all for us become too much. Like we get easily wrapped up in the kids' emotions. So
Especially as mom.
visualizing what you're gonna do, your brain is so dang powerful. It's like, I don't remember what book it was that I was reading about Michael Phelps and winning the gold medal in swimming or whatever.
A book by
And his
Charles Duhigg.
coach would always, what was it?
It was a book by Charles Duhigg.
Was it? Okay, I
It
love
was
him.
red. It was a red book.
Smarter, faster, better.
Smarter, faster, better.
Yeah. So he was saying that, Michael Phelps would visualize like crazy, like every day. So he would
Mhm.
like play a videotape in his mind of him swimming and what it felt like to swim through the water, what it felt like for his hand to hit the edge of the pool. Like,
How many strokes it took to get across the pool.
mhm, so vividly that he would play that in his head over and over. And his coach before the race would say to him, just play the video. And he would just do it. And he didn't even need to look because it would just automatically fire in his brain. Like, did you know that your brain actually doesn't know the difference between reality and what not reality? Like if you've visualized something in your brain, like they've shown that your brain activity is actually as if you're doing it.
Mhm.
So it goes to show you the power of knowing exactly what you're going to do in the day. So like,
Yep.
I know we're
Well,
talking about morning routine, but evening routine is super powerful too. Because if I lay in my bed at night and I try to visualize really clearly what my next morning's going to look like and my day, I am so much more likely to hit my goals the next day as far as what I want to do.
you gotta finish the Michael Phelps story to like make that point.
Oh,
You
you
gotta finish
finished.
that story. The story of Phillips.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Excuse me.
You finish it.
Oh, you don't remember the coolest thing about the whole visualization thing? Here's an example of how the visualization works. Um, yeah, he had all the makings. He had the perfect physical body for swimming. He had the tenacity. Every single one of those Olympians did. The thing that made the difference is when he won those 8 gold medals on his last race. Did you know he couldn't see the whole time? He got in the water,
Oh, that's
and
right.
right after he dived in, his goggles filled up with water, but he can't stop because he knew how many strokes. Automatically, he pushed and pushed and pushed. He knew exactly when to stop, when to do the flip, and to do it all. And he ran that whole race blind because
That's right.
he knew in his mind. He was swimming according to the track in his mind, that last race that he won that 8th medal. So
Wow. You're
don't
right. I totally forgot.
don't underestimate the power of your visualization. And same with there was a pilot who took off, and right after he got over the ocean out of China, his engine blew up. So he's running on one engine. He can see out the window his fuel just pouring out. They're out in the middle of the ocean, but he always had his whole entire team. Every time they were in the bus going from the airport or from the parking lot to the airport, they visualized so many times how many times, like what could go wrong, and if such and such went wrong, what would they do, and what would they do, and they just like autopilot. They knew what to do in that situation because they had thought about it so much that they didn't panic. And then his second engine blew up, and he's like trying to go on like his last power. He has no power. He flipped the bird around. He's like, oh, okay, we have like nothing. What am I going to do? And he's like, because of the visualizations, he was like going through them, and he remembered he started out piloting Cessnas. And he's like, okay, now I'm driving a massive Cessna because it's he had no power. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna drive this just like I did my Cessna, because he'd gone through all of these different cycles. He was just going through the different patterns to find which one was the right visualization, and that's what saved him. Whereas another plane who had the same thing happen, it took off from Jamaica and was going back to France. Like you could hear on the black box when they recovered it from all these hundreds of people dying, that like they were just going with bad patterns, that they habit patterns in their brains because they hadn't done any visualization of any of these issues, or like they were just like, something happened, I'm going to react. Something happens, I'm going to react. Something happened, I'm going to react. And same thing when you parent. The days that I like get up and do this visualization thing, and I'm like, okay, especially I started visualizing, when I'd go out to church when my husband was deployed and I'd take my epic tantrumer to church. When I would visualize what I was going to do and how it was going to be, and the like stress ball that I would feel for the whole thing went so much better because I knew it was happening. I knew it was going to happen. And I knew what I was going to do and how I would react. I mean, I wasn't like happy about it by any means, but like I knew the stress ball was
it
coming,
doesn't make it,
and I
it
knew what I
doesn't
was going
make
to
it
do with it.
like fun. Yeah,
No,
but
I was like,
how
oh
to
yes.
handle it. So
anyway,
yeah,
I
so
had to tell that part.
I'm so glad you told that story, because you have a mean memory, man. Like,
It's
seriously,
not.
I need to go back and read the book again. That was a really great book.
It was a really good book. My kids
It
loved that book.
was what he was talking, what was it called? Tunneling or something like that?
Yeah,
Tunnel, I can't
tunnel
remember.
vision, tunnel
Tunnel
vision.
vision, tunnel something about the brain. Anyway,
Anyway,
super, now we're like geeking out on all the information. But yeah, that was a really great book, Smarter, Faster, Better. I need to listen to that again.
both Charles
Yeah,
Duhigg's books are excellent.
yeah, he's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so one of the great like parenting advices that I've gotten is to try to underreact to your kids. So like what you just said, when you visualize, like I have 5 boys and things are always volatile here. It's like, I don't know.
It
Boys can be,
cannot be loud. It has to be
yeah,
loud.
yeah. And it can get explosive, And so that's one thing I need to be really implementing more in my own life, is like visualizing myself underreacting, because it's one thing to know what you need to do. It's another when you've played the video in your brain so that your brain clicks in like, okay, this happens. My brain now knows what to do, because your brain really is like a computer. Like, you don't have enough resources to pull when you're trying to make all these decisions during the day. That's when you start to feel frazzled. Your brain literally can't handle it. Like, you can only actually make a certain number of decisions a day. Did you know that? That's why at the end of the day, like every single time you say no in the day, you're like draining a little bit of your willpower. That's why at the end of the day, I call it my witching hour. Like, I get to a certain part of the day and I literally cannot freaking function anymore. Like, my brain does not work.
Yeah.
And
9 o'clock
the
hits and I'm
more
like, you know what? I'm just done. Everybody go away.
I'm just done. I can't, just go to bed. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't talk anymore. I can't think anymore. Like, and after, we're like book geeks, like reading, like getting all this information about all this brain stuff. I'm like, after I learned about willpower and the way that your brain's decision making works and everything, I was like, oh, okay, that's why I feel like I'm completely mentally retarded by the end of the day.
Can you hear that?
No.
Okay, good.
I love you. This is so real.
It is. Although somebody's vacuuming, so I hope they're like vacuuming and not like chasing the dog with the vacuum, because the vacuum's a lot. So I mean, I didn't tell anybody to vacuum, so I don't imagine they're actually vacuuming, because
This is where you're hoping the vacuum is actually not clogged anymore.
well, they turned on the other vacuum. I have a little like battery free one for touch ups. It's a little Dyson one, and the head on that's plugged up. I don't know how it gets plugged up, but it's plugged up with something gunky, it looks like. But this is like the big main carpet vacuum, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it would be on. The floor could use a vacuuming. It always can use a vacuuming, but my kids aren't those kids that are like,
Right.
let's get the vacuum out and vacuum for mom without her asking me. So I'm kind of like,
she loved that. It would make her so happy. Let's clean the house.
yeah. Well, I don't know why it's on. We can't hear.
That's okay.
I'm like,
We'll wrap up in a minute here and you can go find out.
yeah,
Um,
who's getting attacked with the vacuum?
right? You're gonna hear someone screaming soon and you'll find out who it is.
I know, they're
Oh,
gonna
that's
take
why
it
the
outside
vacuum's
and
on.
vacuum a chicken head or something. Oh, think we can get the rooster to do its first cock-a-doodle-doo? Gosh.
Mom, we thought it would be easier to vacuum up the chicken poop out of the coop.
Oh, shoot, yeah. Oh, man. Boys, sometimes I'm like, are you gonna be a murderer? Why would you do that to that poor creature? God.
I know. I've wondered. I was talking to this is my oldest. He's 18. He was telling me the other day about how he yeeted a garden snake across the pond, like, and threw it across the pond. I'm like, really? Like, why do you do? And how old are you? I mean, when does this end? Like, I mean, maybe my husband would think it's funny. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I see that stuff and I'm like, you're not out torturing cats, are you? Because they
Isn't
don't
that a
let,
sign of a serial killer?
yeah, exactly. Well, and I watched that show on Discovery Plus called Evil Lives Here, and it's about like serial killers.
Oh,
It's oh, shh.
oh.
So yeah, anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted with the vacuum.
That's okay. I want to talk about one more thing and then we should get off because one of the things about our podcast is we don't want it to be like forever long. Like you're busy, you can hopefully turn us on for 25 minutes and get a little bit of entertainment and help
Yeah.
in your right.
Hopefully you get some
So
like tips and tricks out of it too. So finish your
yeah, and then you can tell me what your morning, because now that I've like blah blah about like how amazing my morning routine
No,
is
I've
now.
interrupted like 500 times, so just keep going.
No, this is super fun. So one thing that I'm adding to my morning routine recently, because I don't know, Crystal and I have been learning a ton about Clifton's strengths, which is
Mhm.
not just a glorified personality test. I mean, we don't
We'll
need,
talk about it next time. The Clifton
yeah,
strip in
we can,
because it is so like
yeah, so amazing. So anyway, so we have learned about all about our strengths and learned like we're super strategic and love collecting all sorts of information and whatever. I mean, but like, so I'm starting to make sure to anchor my strengths in the morning. So I use my essential oils and anchor the strengths that I really want to tap into that day. So for me, responsibility is my number one strength. And so I'm learning like, guess what? I get to actually choose what I want to be responsible for that morning. And so I'm anchoring that in with my visualization, with my oils, with like, deep breathing and like
yep.
visualizing what it is I'm going to choose to take responsibility for today. And I am so much more likely to get that thing done and to feel really good about it and to really feel like I can like tap
Be
into my
focused.
natural strengths.
Yes, and to be focused on what Steph wants to be focused on. And for those of you who don't know Steph, which is probably a lot of you, uh, she does tend to take responsibility for everybody's stuff. Somebody asks her to do something, she's super nice. She's like, yeah, well, they really need it done. And sure, yeah, I'll do that for you. Like, I don't have any time in my day, but yeah, sure, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Yep, sure, I'll do that. And I'll do that. And I'll take that on. And people call her and ask her for stuff, and she does it. And then like with the kids, of course, with the kids, everything ends up being her responsibility. Like she'll do responsibility for everything. And so she's found that that being her number one strength can also be her number one weakness in that she takes on everything. So she's been really trying to be able to be the responsible person that she loves being, but without making it something she hates and wants to crawl into a corner and resents everybody else for trying to offer them their responsibilities that she has to take on. So,
Yeah. I want
well,
to
that's
be
what she's
responsible
talking
for
about.
me.
She's like,
And
okay, I'm
then
going
I
to
can
choose
in
to
turn
take,
serve others
yeah,
better.
yes.
And for you, one of your biggest things that you find runs your day if you're not careful is your harmony, right? So Crystal, like, needs things, and I do too, but it's more important for her. Like, she needs to feel a sense of harmony. Like, there's not this like constant like lack of peace around. And so if she gets up in the morning, especially gets up with the kids in the morning, um when she's kind of getting thrown into the hurricane already, like, it instantly sets her harmony in a bad place. So using using her strengths, she can say, okay, what do I need in the morning? Using my strengths, I can say, what do I need in the morning? Because I know that there are certain strengths that I naturally have. These are the Clifton strengths. Basically, is like, it's how you naturally think, feel, and behave. Basically, these play into your habits and everything that you naturally do. And if you're not careful, the downsides of those natural ways that you think, feel, and behave will just literally run your day. Like, just run you. And I don't particularly want to be ran. I want to choose.
Yeah, they'll run you, and that's when you start to feel like a lot of resentment and a lot of out of control and a lot of unfocused, and then like it spirals down into the, well, I'm not getting anything done of my own, and I'm such a loser, and I'm never getting anything I want done. And then you start like getting depressed and resenting your spouse and resenting your kids and hating motherhood
Yeah.
or hating other people. And maybe you're like, well, no, I don't hate them. But yeah, you're starting to resent them when you're looking at your spouse and you're going, yeah, you just lazy piece of lug or whatnot. If you can work through your own strengths and gain to this focus and fulfillment in the stuff that you're doing and in your life, then you're not relying on like your spouse or your kids or everybody else to bring you fulfillment, because they're not responsible for your fulfillment
Right.
and they aren't going to help you feel
They're
fulfilled.
not. You've got to figure it out.
Yeah, you have to do
Mm-hmm.
it on your own. So no matter where you're at, and yeah, people shouldn't treat you the way that they do sometimes. 100% they shouldn't. I agree. But what are you gonna do about it? Like, you can't
Yeah.
force
You
your
have to
kids to
choose.
listen.
You have to choose.
Yeah, the most you can do is like discipline them, and hopefully they start to
Mm-hmm.
choose to listen to you. And same with like your spouse, you can tell them that they should be helping out in the house. I mean, a lot of husbands don't though. And yeah, I 100% agree that they should. We should teach our kids that so that when they get older, they'll be helping
Mm-hmm.
out in their house. And yeah, I think your spouse should, but I
Right.
think that after you've been angry about it and done it for 7 years or 10 years, or for us, like 15 years of not cleaning the kitchen or really doing anything at all in the house, like, I'm the only one upset about it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the other partner's not upset about it. I'm upset about it. So, yeah, I think they should care, but they obviously don't. And it doesn't bother them. So, I need to get over it, type of thing. So, I need to become focused and find my fulfillment in other things. And ultimately, like, when you're focused and you're fulfilled and you're feeling happy, those around you tend to like, they get in line.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, you just got to choose. Like,
Mhm.
you got to figure out the little things each day that make it easier for you to feel good, to
Starting with your
feel
morning.
fulfilled, to feel happy, to feel productive. And morning routine, I feel like, is a huge part of it. So, what are some of the key things that you've found that are like the things you need to do in your morning routine to like start off your day? Awesome.
Absolutely get up before the kids and pray. Like, I've got to get up
Mm-hmm.
and start my prayer time. And um, I like to read a little bit. If I get a few minutes to read or exercise, or usually I do reading, because my number one, okay, I know nobody knows what strengths are, but like my number one thing that like brings me fulfillment is input. And so
Mm-hmm.
as much as in the
Information.
morning, I'm like, I want to exercise and I want to like, I could work on my work projects. Like, I can work on, we're building this really cool program right now. And so even though I could sit and work on that and whatnot, I'm like, no, I need to like take time to input, or I get really resentful to be like, I never get time for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll read a book, and not not a workbook, not a spiritual life book, like a book that I want to read. Sometimes it's fiction,
Mhm.
sometimes it's nonfiction, but it's a book that like I want to read. Um, and I even just spend 5-10 minutes doing that. I don't need to do it for like an hour. So I usually do that. And then I have to sit down and make sure I look at my plan, my schedule, and figure out what it is I want to do for the day and look at it as like, what's the most important to me? What's going to make me feel the
Yeah.
most
And
effective?
that's your restorative.
Yes.
She's a problem solver, so she's
Yeah.
got to like organize the day.
Yes. So I sit down, and even though I try and do this on Sunday night or Monday morning, it usually happens Monday morning. I also try and do it for the whole week. Like the week as a mom never ends up being exactly what you want. So I have to look at every day also at the same day and then be like, okay, and I'm going to do this, this, and this. And if I then start doing that, and that, then I'm good to go, especially if I can get some work time in the morning, some time to work on. Like, this is my hobby. This is one of our hobbies in our business for our family is, we're building.
Sharing our input really is
Yeah,
really what it
sharing.
is using that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because we love sharing our information that we have and we absorb so much of it. We might as well share it. So sorry if we like fire hose you.
Fire hose.
We're trying not to, but I get excited because I have a lot of junk I read. So does
I
Steph.
know.
Steph will read 15 resources on the same subject, and I'll only read one or two. And then I'm like, nope, that's the author. I found the author I like.
Yeah.
And
And
I'll read
that is
all of
the
their books.
be all end all is this thing. But you
Yes.
know what? We're learning why that is and why we tend to go towards this. And I love using the strengths in figuring out what your morning routine looks like. And if you want to learn more about the strengths, reach out to us. I mean, we're going to talk more about it on this podcast and in all sorts of things that we do, but we're totally into it. And um, I think it's even more powerful when you can realize the way that you naturally think, feel, and behave, so you can
Yes.
see what recharges you in the morning. So when I'm hearing Crystal talk, I'm like, yeah, there's like her input being like, okay, I know the input recharges me. So she's got to input a little bit. For me, I've got to get my responsibility in check first thing in the morning. So there's just
Yeah.
these little things that we do. And it really just because those things activate me, those things activate her. That's what energizes us
Yeah.
to do better during the day. So people who like love people, like they need to know in the day who they're going to connect with that day. Like who's going to, if, I mean, that's not me, but if I was a person who had woo that was like, I need people. Yeah. Like, okay, I need to make sure that I'm fueling myself
Yes.
today
People
because that way I
want
can
to be
serve my
around
family
lots of
better.
new people all the time. New people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. So,
and some people really like to communicate, and some people really like their number one is that. So in the morning, like maybe making sure they are spending time with their spouse first thing in the morning, or,
mm-hmm.
one of their older kids, or giving their mom a call, or whatever it is that like recharges you, is to do that recharging
Mm-hmm.
thing. For most people, the things that recharge you is not going and getting your massage. Like those are enjoyable things to do,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's not the type of stuff that's going to make you feel focused, fulfilled, in the zone, ready to go. And you also have to keep it all in check. Temperance and everything. Everything.
Yeah.
Kids are
So let's talk real quick because we should hop off soon, but let's talk real quick about our focus and fulfilled in 5 because
yes.
we are ready to launch this thing, you guys. Like we are so freaking excited.
We
Like
worked so hard
we've
on
been
it.
working so excited. So we've
And it,
worked on this focus and go ahead. Sorry.
oh, I just wanted to say where it came out of, just because we've been working on it. This came out of this kind of stuff, like this exact stuff that we're talking about. Because so many moms are like, I just feel so unfulfilled at the end of the day. I'm not getting anything done. Like I'm frazzled. How are you having a hard time being a mom? Like I'm finding a hard time finding joy in being a mom. Like I love my kids. How come this is so hard? And I've lost myself. I see that all the time in moms groups. I've lost myself. I love my kids so much. How come I don't enjoy motherhood? How come there are other mothers out there who are like, ew, I'm Peggy homemaker or whatever. And we're here to help you be you and to become a focused and fulfilled you who doesn't feel like
Yeah, you've got to
been on
live.
the
We
treadmill
want
all
to
day.
help moms like We are so busy. We get it. So we want to help you learn how to feel like live intentionally enough that you feel amazing by the end of the day rather than like a failure. So we have been working on this focus and fulfilled in 5 days experience for a while. I mean, because we have a lot going on. And so it's taken us way longer than it should have. But nevertheless, we're about ready to release this thing. We're going to unleash.
Yes.
And it's awesome. And it's like just 5 days of helping you create your own personal productivity formula so that you feel good by the end of every day and helping you come up with your morning routine and stuff like this. So, if you want to know more about that, you can go to busybossmama.com and enter your email, and you will be notified when that launches, which will be in the next week. So, I'm about to have somebody bust into my room as well. Do you have anything else we should add real quick?
Nope, I'm pretty sure you guys can hear the tank battle going on in front of me. The bunch of Lego.
No.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I've got that going on. So
Yeah. So anyway, our time is up.
Join our Focused and Fulfilled challenge, or at least like put your email in, check it out, send us some ideas. If you have some certain things about being focused and fulfilled that you have questions about or concerns about, or you're like, you know what about in this situation?
Our
Like
goals.
send us those things, like things that you would want us to cover, things you would like us to talk about, any of that stuff. Or to busybossmom.com and fill it out. Mama or mamas? It's mama, right?
Busy Boss Mama. We should probably get the other domain, Busy Boss Mamas, too, because people are going to get confused. Anyway, whatever. Busybossmama.com.
Yeah.
So anyway, you guys, start on your morning routine tomorrow. Even if you just pick like 1 or 2 things that you're going to do in the morning to fill your cup so that you can be your best every day and end your day feeling great. And we will talk to you guys next time. Mwah.
Later.